Okay, welcome back to What the Frick podcast. For those that recognize Brendan over here, we have bbflicks back in the building. What's up, Brendan?
What's going on?
Anyways, last time we had Brendan here, we went over some interesting topics. Do you remember what they were?
Yes.
Yeah, what were they?
We went over like what it's like to work in sports and about our jobs and working in content.
Correct. We also had a couple of hot takes that got the internet in a bit of a spiral. Do you remember what those were?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's something we talk about still way too much at the ballpark, Taylor Swift. But I haven't heard about her lately that much now that the NFL season's over.
Well, there's just not as much to discuss, but you know, her movie just came out again on Disney Plus, so that's news.
I know that because you told me that before. I wouldn't have known that on my own, though.
Right, well, it's good to be educated.
Okay.
But I bring this up because last time you were here, you had a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts that all ended up being incorrect. And so I just wanted to bring that back to light in terms of I am always correct. And the first opinion you had that was wrong was around the time of the World Series. And you thought the Dodgers were going to beat the Diamondbacks. And what happened there with that series again? You want to remind us all?
I don't want to. I don't want to relive it. I was there for Game 3 as a fan, and I wish I hadn't gone.
No. It was a good game.
No, it wasn't.
Why? Because they swept them?
No, I mean, I would imagine it was fun to be there as a Diamondbacks fan, but yeah, it was not a great experience. I went with my roommate I was staying with for the fall league here, and I didn't even realize it when I was leaving because I was just kind of like still shocked that they lost. And apparently a little kid, like 7 years old, waved goodbye to me, a little Diamondbacks fan, because my team had just gotten swept. I'm glad I didn't actually witness it myself. I'd rather just hear the stories about it, but it was brutal.
Well, I mean, I think whether you're a fan or not, it's nice to see a team that's the underdog kind of misplace this very famous, very well-known team, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there are worse cities it could happen to, I guess, and worse teams it could happen to. But you never want to see your team lose, regardless. So
no, but I mean, I was enjoying the moment.
Yeah, and I never want to be wrong, of course, so that hurts too. Right.
And speaking of wrong, the other thing you were wrong about, still wrong about,
This is the most I've ever been wrong, by the way. This is not normal.
I guess it's still up for debate, but I don't think it will be a problem. You were saying that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship was all just a PR stunt and for publicity, and they are still going strong many, many months later.
Do we know they're still going strong? Hasn't been talked about anytime soon. This is what I'm talking about.
Yes, they are still going strong.
It's been a month. Have you seen anything from them?
Yes.
Where?
You don't follow them, but she was
That's correct. I don't follow them.
She was just on tour. She just finished up in the Asian countries. I forget the exact ones, but he was there with her in Singapore. He was there with her in Australia. So she's not on tour for another couple of weeks, but he was just with her in her latest city. So it's kind of hard to say they're not still together.
I don't have a response. I don't follow it close enough, to be honest, but...
You don't have to have a response. The only response really is that you were wrong because you thought it was a PR stunt, and it's not a PR stunt because it was real.
It could still be...
It's going on almost a year now.
It could be a little bit of both, though. Like, they're out of the spotlight right now because the football season's over, and you don't see it as much. Obviously, when NFL is pushing it out 5 times a week, you see it all the time. But...
Yeah.
You'd have to be following closely to it now, which
I am.
Yeah, but which is also like more celebrities.
Well, I think your point makes it even more valid is that they're not really being shown as much anymore. So how could it be a PR stunt unless you really are a Swiftie or a diehard Travis Kelce fan? You're probably not following them very close. Hence, if they wanted to be seen more, they'd make it a bigger deal like it was during the NFL season. Hence, it's not a PR stunt.
I don't know. I'm over it now. It's not.
You're over it? Okay, just wanted to revisit last episode's
Thank you
topic.
for reminding me how wrong I was.
Okay. Well, I guess to move forward, we did talk about last episode the MLB life. We both had the same job with the MLB, but Brendan has actually moved forward and has left MLB, and so curious for you to come on and kind of talk about your next steps and what you are doing, because you're not leaving baseball really at all. No. Just kind of going in a new direction. So why don't you explain it?
I've accepted a job with Victus in Philadelphia. Shout out Victus. I'm going to be working full-time in content and marketing, and we're going to still be doing the same type of stuff. I just won't be on the field as much and, have that title of MLB with me. But for those who don't know, they're the bat company that made the pencil bat for the Little League World Series Classic. So they do a lot of creative stuff, and I think they plan on doing much more of that. And I've bought into the idea of, making baseball fun. That's what it's all about. That's, the way they're trying to push it. So I think it gives me a very unique opportunity that I'm grateful for.
So will you still be going to games, or just not as many games, or games specifically in the Philadelphia area, or how does that work? Because the old job was mostly games, and now it's more marketing.
Yeah, so this season I won't be on the field as much, if not at all, for this season at least. But it'll be a good way for me to keep my connection still of players I met as they come into the factory when they come to play the Phillies. And we'll still do a lot of content in the off season. I will be at the All-Star game, and I will be at the London series, so I'll still get to shoot some events. Maybe not as much on the everyday basis, though.
Yeah, speaking of your networking with the players, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. You're very talkative with them, and a lot of them recognize you, which is really cool. How do you think you've been able to build those relationships up over the past 2 seasons with Fall League and everything else going into it?
I think it goes back to like age kind of, and there are a lot of disadvantages of being the youngest in your industry in terms of lack of experience. You're not trusted as much necessarily with some of the bigger tasks at the beginning. But at the same time, on the flip side, you get trusted by the players more because you can relate to them more often, because we're the same age and we're following the same trends on social media and stuff that not everyone might be following. So there's more to relate to. Yeah,
that's a good point, because usually age is a negative, but in this case it can be a positive. What's the biggest advantage you think you've seen come from these relationships with players? Whether it be content or personal.
I mean, it's great to have these connections for many different reasons. It's great in the sense that you just make really cool friendships along the way, people that can relate to what you do in a different way. It's fun that instead of just shooting and it's like work, it doesn't always feel like work because, you're hanging out with the guys and people and it's always nice to have familiar faces everywhere you go. But it's also nice to grow the connections on a work standpoint because, as you know, it's about who you know in this industry, and everyone and everyone that refers you one step further just gets you, farther along the way. I meet one guy, he refers me to another friend when I'm in his city. And then I meet his agent. His agent has another guy shooting in Philly, and then I'm in Philly. And then I meet this bat company, Victus, and I get to go do a shoot in Tampa Bay.
So that's how that happens?
It's all like it's a ripple effect. And
got it.
It's very important to make connections in any industry you're in. It's especially important to do it in this industry.
Almost a necessity, some would say.
Almost a necessity. Most would say.
If you don't have somewhat of a social bone in your body, you probably won't make it very far.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
True.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like there's a line between being too buddy with a player versus being more professional with the photo stuff? How do you tamper over that line between friend and professional?
Yeah, absolutely. Before and after the game, I'll socialize, but I will try not to start a conversation because I never want to interfere with their routines or whatever they've got going on. If someone comes up to me, I'll obviously, talk to them for a minute or hang out for a little bit. But once the game starts, they're doing their thing, but we're also doing our thing. We're busy too. It's not like we're just sitting around waiting for something to happen. We have to make it happen ourselves. So a lot of it doesn't really take place necessarily at the field or on the field at the ballpark, but most of it will take place in the off season or, not during game times and doing other workout videos and stuff.
Yeah. Are these players reaching out to you directly to help them, or is like their agents, or how are those relationships built once you've already kind of established something?
Yeah, a lot of the time I still do most of the reaching out just to kind of show I'm available. I try to offer as much as I can at the beginning to build the connection, but at the same time, as much as we do work for free or not that much money at the beginning, like we're also growing ourselves. So they're benefiting because they get the content for their socials, but they have way more followers than us, and they tag us and more people will see our work, and that's more important too.
That's true. Do you think once you're in Philadelphia with this new company, you'll be able to do as many of these more freelance type shoots, or will it be more focused on players specifically with this company?
Yeah, it'll be a lot with Victus, but I mean, Victus has some of the biggest baseball players now. They have Fernando Tatis, they have Julio Rodriguez. Those are just Mookie Betts. They've got a bunch of guys that would be a lot of fun to work with that I haven't worked with as much yet. But in the off season too, like I might start freelancing more for Getty and AP and stuff like that in the Philly area and try to get into basketball and football more. Because I know you're already the 3-sport athlete over here, but maybe I can compete.
You have to break into all of them.
Yeah.
Haven't done hockey yet, but
okay.
It's hard to add another one to the resume when you're already so busy. My next question was, what are you looking forward to most, I guess? I know you're only 20 years old, you're moving to a brand new city. You never really moved across the country like this, really just California and Arizona. So like, what are you looking forward to and also kind of apprehensive about?
I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I think many people in this industry and maybe other industries would say that all they needed was a chance or an opportunity. And I think that's what I've got here. And it felt like it was given to me and I needed to take it now. And I feel like I'm at a time where I can still try these types of things. And if it didn't work out, I could always come back home. But I feel like it would be really stupid of me not to try something new. I'm not looking forward to I'm not an East Coast guy. I'm not a snow guy. We live in Arizona, California. It's a lot warmer over here. Mm-hmm. Dodger games will start at 10 o'clock at night. Not excited about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not excited
because everything
about
is
that.
like the West Coast, like the latest games always. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Oh, it's like
all sports will change. Like
everything. Yeah. Like games will go until the middle of the night, and it'll
crazy.
I'll just have to adjust to it.
Wow. So I think for most people moving across the country, people either are like absolutely like you, or they're like, I will never leave my hometown. Like, and the climate change, the time change, like you said, is it like more, if you'd like put it on a scale of like 10, you're really excited, like forget about the opportunity, but just like the act of actually moving, like have you thought about all the time it's going to take, and are you driving there? Like, what is your plan and in action for that? It's coming up soon.
Yeah, 2
right?
weeks.
Like 2 weeks from now.
What's today? 19, yeah, 2 weeks from today. I don't know. I really haven't thought about it that much, which might be better. Because I've been working the last 45 straight days here at spring training. So it's been nice to have something to keep my mind off in the meantime, because that type of stuff can be very stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful.
Yeah, someone who's moved a bunch would understand.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't really done much moving or anything in my life. And I'm optimistic, but I wouldn't rate it because I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Right.
So.
That makes sense. I find it so interesting because people my age, which I know
my age.
I'm very old. I'm only 27, but like I've moved a couple of times and I know how stressful it is and how much work it takes. So for someone that's never made this really big of a lifestyle change, going into it kind of blind is very interesting. Like I'm curious to see your thoughts once you've actually done it and you're actually there, you're like, oh, this was like a walk in the park, or that was the hardest thing I've ever done. Because it is like just a lot of work, and to buy furniture and, buy plates and buy trash bags and all the stuff you like don't really think about, and you're like, wait, I need that.
Yeah. Yeah. Had I not made so many connections with people who work for MLB over in the New York office and just people I know on the East Coast from working in baseball, it would probably be much harder of a move going somewhere where I don't know anybody. But only being an hour away from a lot of people that I know in the industry will help make it more comfortable, I think.
Yeah. And are you going to be traveling at all for the job? Or are you going to be just kind of in the Philadelphia area, or how will that work?
Yeah, I'm not a big traveler myself. I know you are quite the traveling enthusiast.
Yes.
But in May, we're going to Japan. In June, we're going to London. Also, Omaha for the College World Series. July, we'll be going to Texas for the All-Star Game. And I'm sure there's more trips that'll be planned. But as soon as I get there, we're going to hit the ground running. And I'm going to get my miles in, that's for sure.
Wow. So have you ever been abroad?
I've been to Israel twice, but
That's
it hasn't been since I was 8, 9. So it's been a long time.
Because going to Japan is quite the far trip.
17 hours from Philly.
Are you going to fly first class?
I have no idea. I kind of feel like, I don't want to sound spoiled or anything, but like, I don't know.
You should have your fingers crossed.
I don't know if I could do it not. Like,
did
you fly first class?
No.
Oh.
The flight I just got back from to Spain was 11 hours economy. It's a huge price difference, though, it's like a $5,000-$6,000 price difference.
Oh,
so
yeah. It's like,
someone
I
like
can't
us is
afford
not
it.
going to
Yeah.
pay for that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I can't sleep in cars, on planes, stuff like that.
I can't either.
So I couldn't do 17 hours. I might have to bite the bullet and upgrade my ticket. I don't know.
I don't think you just have like 7. And to Japan, even farther, that's probably close to 10 grand.
I guess we're flying economy.
You'll be fine. You're young. You're versatile.
That's what everyone keeps saying. But at some point, like,
people say that to me too, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I can't do this anymore. But you really can. Like, if I did it, you can do it. So out of all the players that you have worked for, or that you are going to work for at this new company, which one has been the one you've been most, thrilled to work with so far? And then what's one you're excited to get to work with in the future? Because I think a lot of people are shocked when they hear that we're just around these players. We talk to them. They're just normal people. So kind of give some insight here.
I'm not gonna pick one. I can't.
Okay, well, maybe pick a few. Then you don't have to single one out.
That's tough. I would say I love working with Tristan McKenzie, pitcher for the Guardians. Julio is equally as fun. They're from the same agency, so I do a lot for them. From the A's, shout out Lawrence Butler. That's my guy. He's a blast. But there's a lot of guys that are fun to work with that I haven't got to work with as much as others. So this is kind of more from like repetition. Like I've done a bunch with them, so they stand out. But I'm very excited to work, hopefully more with Mookie Betts, who is a Victus bat guy. Mookie just seems like he's the best. And that has nothing to do with me being a Dodgers fan. I thought he was cool when he was in Boston too. And everyone I've met that works in it for MLB or for the Dodgers or anything only has great things to say about him. So I'm excited.
Wow, that's a good answer. Do you think you'll become a Phillies fan? Because they kind of have a very strong fan base over there with all Philadelphia sports. So will you kind of stick to your guns?
I am so beyond loyal to my teams that I could never switch to the Phillies, and I've been asked that a lot already. And they are loyal, and I do respect that, and that is what I'm kind of looking forward to the most about moving to Philly, is going to games and living in an environment like that. Because as someone who works with the Diamondbacks, you see they don't get a good turnout during the season. When the playoffs come, that was a different story. That was actually very impressive.
Yeah.
But
hopefully this year it's different.
Hopefully this year it's different. But I hear Phillies like that every year, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't switch teams either, so just testing the waters here.
Yes, no. Don't count on it.
Something I think is interesting that I have felt, and I've had friends that have felt this, and because you're so young and kind of already pretty advanced for what this industry is, do you know what imposter syndrome is?
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I don't.
Well, interesting. Let's discuss it.
Okay.
So it's kind of when you're put into a situation and people expect things of you and you're kind of almost questioning, like, I don't want to say good enough, but like you kind of almost like if a nurse had been training in nursing school for 3 years and all of a sudden they're put into the actual field to go save someone's life. It's like, oh, can I actually do this? Like I have the training and I know what I'm doing, but like I can't really do this. Like I've never done it type of thing. So trying to like almost take that analogy into what you're doing as someone who's worked in sports, worked in content, but now you're like moving, full-time job, good salary, good environment. Like, do you think you'll have any like almost pressure once you're there to perform, or does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. These are things I never think about until you ask about them.
Someone has to ask you these questions.
For those who don't know, Shayna basically gave me this exact same rundown probably like a year ago today, honestly.
Probably, yeah.
Right before I moved back to San Francisco to start working for MLB, I basically got these exact same questions from her. So,
well, you just don't think about them. You're just like,
yeah,
living in your little world, which is great, but
yeah,
it's good to think about.
I don't think so. I think a lot of what I've done is I'm always up for the challenge, and I expect a lot out of myself in these types of things I do. So if anything, I feel like I probably put more pressure on myself than anyone around me does or expects from me, to be honest. And that might be better, or it might, be more taxing on myself. But I think in things I do, I show what I bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And I hope they expect more from me, honestly, because that means there's room for growth and room to improve. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good answer. Obviously, you're going to always be improving and getting better, but I know there have been times where they're like, oh, you're going to run this. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not ready for that, but like you are. It's just like you've never been in that position before. It's like, oh, you're going to run this whole shoot, all the lights, you're going to direct. It's like, what? You trust me to do that? But it's like, if they trust you, then shouldn't you trust yourself?
True.
But most people don't. So
I mean, I think the first wake-up call for something like that I had was in Oakland this year. I did one of those taking the field videos with the gimbals, and I see them all the time. And in my brain, I've always been able to vision what they would look like. Like, how hard could this possibly be?
Right.
And I absolutely botched it. It was so bad.
Did MLB ask you to do it, or did you just do it?
The A's did.
The A's did. Okay.
It was for Zach Geloff, who had just won Rookie of the Month. So I was going out there.
How hard that you just like follow the player, right?
It sounds that easy, but you have to use autofocus, obviously, because you're running and you 2 hands on it. But it's like you have to follow the player when he runs out, and they're all running at you at once. Then you got to lock in on the guy you were supposed to follow, and then when you're running, you're kind of like trying to keep an eye on him, but also make sure he's still in focus. And he was out of focus half the time. I was like cropped like waist up, like I wasn't far enough back from him, and I was so embarrassed. And they were like, "It's okay, like we'll run it back, like another day or something."
Yeah, they're gonna run out again.
No, like another day. But I was just like it was all I could think about. Like, this sucks. Like,
that's a good example.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like those are the types of things that most people don't see, like looking from the outside looking in, but even from the inside looking in, it's like we work in this industry, we do this stuff all the time. Like you're saying, setting up like camera equipment or a studio, it's like, I've seen it 1,000 times. How hard could it be? Then you do it yourself, and it's like, oh shit, this is kind of hard.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I always get nervous with audio. Not really with this, 'cause I've done it so many times, but when you're like doing interviews with people, I'm always like staring at the sound bar. I'm like, is it recording? Does it sound good? Even though I can see it, I can hear it. I'm like, I don't know. I could be just making this up, and then I have to like replay it immediately. Yeah. So it's like, you're interviewing these players. I'm not gonna redo it. So you have to like get it right the first time. But even now, I'm still like, I did it wrong, even though it's completely right, but it's scary.
Mic'd up is the biggest fear.
Mic'd ups are scary.
Because that's the one thing you really couldn't redo even if you wanted to. Like,
there's not many redos in sports, like I say. Everything happens one time. And when people always ask me, like, oh, can you shoot, like, a product? I get that it's totally different and, like, totally different setup and lighting. But if I can shoot a ball coming 100 yards away one time, I think I could figure out a product that's sitting on a table with, like, infinite time. So people, like, don't get that. But I feel like sports is a good way to really, like, learn.
That's a great quote. We need to clip that. Everything only happens once.
It does only happen once.
It is really hard to replay stuff in sports.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do that gimbal run out. I've never been asked to do it. It was at World Series. All the full-time people were doing it, obviously. Yeah. But it looks fun. It does look hard because they do kind of run fast sometimes. But maybe this year I'll ask to do it.
I did a bunch during the fall league. It is so much fun.
And yeah, you did a lot then.
Yeah, and when you see the results, a lot of the time it's very rewarding because, like, obviously it's a one-on-one shot. No one else can do that.
Did you work out and prepare for that running?
I do a lot of stretching before. I recommend stretching.
You could have someone just run out there randomly and, like, before the game and, like, test it.
I mean, there would be the stretching, people would laugh. But there would be nothing more embarrassing than, like, pulling your hamstring or like, tripping and falling, running out with a player in front of 40,000 people.
Are you kidding? That would go viral. That would be, like, do it on purpose almost. You would be so well known. Like, this is the kid. And then they're like, oh, this is his Instagram. Oh, wait, this kid is pretty good, actually. He just fell on his face.
And then 54 comments every post will be saying, how did the grass taste? And
I really think maybe you should do this next time and just fall. I can't do it because I'm a woman, and women just take the fall even harder. But you can do it.
Shout out Campbell Dunn, who did it with the green suit on.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right, that's not embarrassing. That's cool. That will get you going viral.
I had no clue that was from a TV show. I thought he was just doing it like.
I didn't either.
Because it was like a green screen him out, but it was from that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia show, and it was like Halloween or something.
I honestly thought it was for TV purposes, like when they showed the broadcast.
And he was like, no. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I think he posted like the clip, what it's from. Mm-hmm. And I was like, had you never posted this, like I would have thought you were just a green screen.
Yeah, I feel like I would have passed out in that, but.
All right, that's a bit dramatic.
It's not. There's no airflow. Do you have any hot takes on anything? Baseball related, life related?
Anything?
Dating related?
This is not a dating talk show.
It is actually.
Sports talk show.
It's actually more of a dating talk show with sports dribbled in there.
I'll give you a hot take.
Okay.
The Dodgers win the World Series this year. Clip it in right now. I mean, it's so obvious that they're the best team. Obviously, it's a long season. You got to stay healthy, but I got to redeem myself. Last year's takes were embarrassing, so.
I think if they do win, it will not be like a shock, considering what they've paid for, but also
money's just an object.
How depressing if they don't make it at least to the playoffs, which seems they always make it there. But what if they just didn't? And they have the best baseball player in the world and already a very stacked team. I feel like so many people would be just in shock. You being one of them.
Me being maybe the most. Well, I mean, people always joke about how the Diamondbacks won, or made it that far with the power of friendship. Just.
They are.
Yeah,
They're so nice.
Yeah, but Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani were just on the same team for 6 years or 5 years, and they were the two best players in baseball, and it proves that you have to get hot at the right time, but also creating a good environment around the entire team is important. Creating chaos, some would say.
Whoa, let's not use that tagline unless it's for the D-backs. But I'm curious to see what the Dodger games are like this year. I know we've both been at Dodgers camps and practices, and it's pretty impossible to get near a team normally, just in general with them because of Ohtani. And Like I've looked at the schedule already. They have both of us like at every Dodger game, like both LCCs. So I'm sure it'll be like that everywhere. Yet alone the actual home games just stacked with people. So
yeah, I shot my very first game for MLB last year on opening day was A's versus Angels, and Ohtani pitched. And obviously I had never shot an MLB game outside of spring training, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I quickly realized that wasn't what the daily expectation should be. And it is insane the crowd he brings from a fan standpoint and a media standpoint. Mm-hmm. And like you said, they already have Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Clayton Kershaw and a bunch of names that would get you a lot of immediate media attention already to begin with. Mm-hmm. And adding Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto, it's true. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'm excited to see how you guys survive it. Isn't that such a weird feeling? Like when there's that many media people, mm-hmm. It's like you don't really feel like it's any different. Like right. it just kind of feels like there's so many people here. Like how you have to get more creative. How's your shot going to be different? But it's also like there has to be a better system. Why can't everyone just take from the same couple photographers or videographers, you know?
It just doesn't work like that, I guess.
People are going to get the same shot. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. But it's like that brand wants that shot and they own it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Well, I think a good way to end this podcast, I just thought of it now. So smart. But we should tell the story of Ohtani's first day in spring training actually playing on the Dodgers, because you predicted something that was kind of... It felt crazy to me because it's just you like manifested it and then it happened. But basically, Ohtani was, what's the word I'm looking for? Debuting
There you go.
for the Dodgers spring training, and I had to film all this stuff of him for MLB. You worked directly with the spring training facility, so you had so much to get of him, and we were both sitting and just getting shots of him. And then I'll let you take it from here about what happened.
In the content world, all you want is the best possible thing to happen. You know, mm-hmm. Getting the shot is one thing, but it has to happen first. It's equally as hard as getting the shot. And I mean, I wanted a home run. You know, his first game, we were going to break the internet with a home run. And I think it was his third at bat. He got out his first two at bats.
I think it was his second at bat.
No, he got out his first two at bats.
Okay, I don't know. I know it wasn't the first one.
Because he was supposed to get only two at bats, but he got out both times, so they let him hit a third time. He did strike out his first at bat.
Struck out the first one. That was like really depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went and found a seat next to Shayna, who was already in the spot that I wanted, but I settled for the seat next to her.
Because I'm always in the best spot.
Because she's always in the best spot. And I said to her, I was like, he's going to hit a home run here. And I don't know, 2 or 3 pitches into the bat, he hit up the home run.
I think it was a full count.
It might have been, yeah. And as he started rounding the bases, I was like, I had the biggest smile ear to ear on my face that like we both got it. But I also wanted to be like let's go. But like we have to finish getting the shot first. But
yeah, it was funny because we're talking and all of a sudden we're just quiet and we're both like getting the shot. And then as soon as we're like, oh, yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah. I will say, I have never seen Shayna move faster in my life than when she got the home run and had to go upstairs and upload it. We've probably now worked between spring training and the fall league 30 games, 30, 40 games. And yeah, I have never seen her move that quickly. Not that she's slow or anything, but like there is a sense of urgency with him to begin with. And that being his first home run and us both wanting, you know, to get that content up as fast as possible. He hit home plate. I'm looking to my left. She's already up and out of her seat, up to the press box. So
I think I said, I got to go.
Yeah, she did. You did say, I got to go. Yeah.
Because I knew, like, they're going to want this. They're going to want this fast. It probably already clipped the broadcast. Yeah. But to have it right there in 4K. And I was shooting in log, so I had to color it. But, like, immediately they were like, someone needs to send this now. And, of course, this is, like, the one stadium in spring training that has, like, the worst service, the worst Wi-Fi. So that itself takes an extra minute or two to send. But Yeah, I was out of breath after. I think had to go up some stairs to get to the press box, but sat there, did it, exported it also in a 4x5 for social. So I'm like, here you go, just take it. I want it out there now.
We're live. Just like that.
But that was a cool little moment, I felt like, because we were right next to each other. You said it happened, and then it was just like madness.
Yeah.
And you said that he just posted your clip, like
yeah.
literally right before we started.
Literally as I pulled in 45 minutes late, Shohei Ohtani posted my home run as a part of his opening day reel. And that's a pretty cool feeling. I mean, you see your stuff too. It's like when they post it on MLB Network or on Instagram, it's like damn, there is no better feeling than that in what we do. A player posting it's one thing, but like Shohei Ohtani or like MLB itself is a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's like with the NFL, like when the team posts it, I'm like, oh, amazing, they liked it. But when the NFL takes it, it's like, oh, they really thought that was something, because they're in charge of, just like the MLB, all of these teams. So like they really have to like pick you out of a lineup and be like, this was good enough for us to post. So
it's a good feeling.
I love it. I love reposting it. That's my favorite thing to do. People are always like, oh, is that yours? I'm like, if I reposted it to my story, it's mine.
I know, and I always put the little camera emoji up with it.
I just feel like it's part of, I don't know, common sense.
Yeah.
Maybe not to some people, but
I guess not.
That's amazing. Was there anything else you'd like to end this with before you leave us for Philadelphia? Because probably won't be able to do another one until you come back to the desert.
For the fall.
Yeah, in fall.
Shout out Shayna and What the Frick?
What the Frick podcast.
What the Frick podcast.
I don't even know what podcast is.
I've been bothering her about this since before I left the fall, so 4 or 5 months ago, and then I've been bothering her the entire month and a half I've been out here for spring to get this done. So
I've been busy.
She's a busy woman. I'm glad we could get it done. And
yeah. Well, next time we can discuss your job. See if you have imposter syndrome, or if you never had it, or see if you realize what it's like to spend all your money on paper towels and stuff, like all that fun stuff.
All that grown-up stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Shayna makes it out to Philly and we film podcasts in the summer.
I mean, I've never been there. East Coast-wise, I've only been in New York, and that's it.
Let's make it happen.
We'll see. Freelance me out. I'd like to be paid to go there.
To come out and film a podcast?
Well, no, I'll do stuff, obviously.
Oh, you'll work also, but...
Yeah, but then a podcast in Philly. That'd be cool.
I'll work on it. I'll see what we can get done.
All right, okay. Well, do you want to plug your socials real quick?
Same socials as always. Don't plan on changing them anytime soon. bbflicks on everything. Make sure to follow What the Frick podcast. Let's make this go viral.
Yes, beautiful. Well, thank you, Brendan, and we will hopefully see you in Philadelphia.
Hopefully, let's make it happen.